Hello everyone. Welcome to the next IS explanation of mains examination recently held here. As you are aware of the few topics of the geography, especially the Indian geography in the paper one, and one question was there, uh, what are non-farm primary activities? How are these activities related to the physiographic features in India? Discuss with suitable examples. So this question was basically having mainly this point, the non-farm activity, primary activities. If anyone has better idea, non-farm is the main point here, then of course any primary activity directly from the land we get. One is mineral resources, and this activity we call the mining activities. In our mind, first of all, mining activities must come. But directly we can also get the use of the land, for example for some activities like forestry or forest related activities, like miner forest produce food, the gatherer, and also the activities like the grazing, animal grazing, or even fisheries. So it is very important, fundamental that in examination pressure at least one or two must come in our mind. But as soon as we just write down on this part, gradually other point can also come. So first of all, first in our mind the non-farm primary activities, and once mining physiographic features, it is very easy for us. Okay, Chota Nagpur Plateau, metallic mineral ledge, okay, Aravalli region, okay, coastal area for monazite sand, or this physiography in our mind already there. So physiographic features or relief features. So the introduction should be there like that, that India has the varied relief or the topography or physiographic features. Consequently, it has the scope of multiple activities other than agriculture or farm activities, that is the mining, forestry related, grazing, fisheries, and so on. And then you have to just consider mining activities, elaborate in the body part mining activities. In mining activities, I would advise that first in your mind must be a kind of map here. For example, if I say in mining activities, you can show that India has the diversified physiographic aspects. If we have the desert, we have the plateau, we have the mountains, we have the grid plain. Every area has its own potential, and especially through the map also you can show this part. One small map you can also show to justify your point. For example, in the map, you can just show here, and you can make one square, figure 1, figure 2, and we discuss in the classes also that okay, the kind of point we can show. Okay, it is the Aravalli region, it is the Chota Nagpur region, it is the Karnataka Plateau region, it is the Bastar region, a little bit Shillong Plateau, and so on. Then you can write down, especially in your mind, example in mining activities, one famous plateau you can note down, Chota Nagpur. So suitable example are required here. So Chota Nagpur, metallic mineral ledge. Different metals are there, metallic mineral ledge. We have iron, we have uranium, we have the copper, we have many multiple gold and so on in Chota Nagpur area. And even you can write down that these rocks are old hard rocks. So in your mind it should also be there, it is old hard rock. So you can write down that it is the older, harder plateau zones, and these are crystalline rock as well, suitable for metallic mineral, crystalline, belonging to Dharwad or Archean rocks. Very old rock these are, Dharwad, Archean. So once you start in a better way, then gradually the terms will come up automatically. The class notes NCERT based, and this older, harder crystalline Dharwad rocks, eroded surface, source of multiple metallic mineral in that area. But in Chota Nagpur area and multiple other area also, we have other features as well, the river valleys like Damodar, like Son, And also we have the kind of minerals here. For example, the coal rich belt also. But coal rich is not in plateau much, unlike this part. Plateau suitable, hills suitable for metallic mineral, but coal rich area, the river valleys. This physiography, the river valleys, especially old partial lift valleys of Damodar, this zone, the Mahanadi, these kind of things you can write down, and you can show that it is basically the Gondwana coal, the bituminous coal, largely in India. Our Gondwana coal 150 million years ago, this coal is basically Gondwana coal, a bituminous coal. The Jharia, the Bokaro, the Raniganj, Singrauli, Singrauli, one or two name example you can write down. Okay, bituminous coal like in Damodar area, the Jharia coal. Any coal mine you can note down in this part here. So kind of plateau area and kind of river valley area. Similarly, the sedimentary rocks even in coastal area in which mining activities like in coastal zone, Indian coastal line. Coastal zone having the crude oil like you can say the Ankleshwar, like we have even the KG basin. So you may write down the crude oil rich area like Ankleshwar in Gujarat zone. The coastal surrounding sedimentary rock, buried organic matter, fossil fuels, offshore, onshore in the coastal surrounding. So gradually you can note down the coastal surrounding, and even in desert topography also we have the Badmer area, Tethys Sea fossil in desert area. The past physiographic aspects of the India, desert area like Badmer area, crude oil as well here. So in Himalayan topography, like lithium, like limestone kind of mineral, lithium in Jammu region, Riyasi district, we discussed this part as well. So what you have to do, you have to just revise properly, and different points will be in different modules, and you have to collect them. For that, practice is very much needed. If you do practice, keep on practicing, then it will be our habit. Okay, जहाँ जहाँ टुकड़े टूटे हुए हैं उनको जोड़ना है, सिंथेसिस करना है, डिफरेंशिएशन बहुत ज़्यादा है. So we have to note down this part. But these maps are wonderful map, and if kind of a map you can draw like this, then it will be also enhancing. As far as other aspects in the 150 words you have to write down, then forest related, then one point you can mention like in forest area, forest related activities like minor forest produce, minor forest produce. The main forest related area, you know, the activity is here. Either you can say the kind of Western Ghat area or Northeast area, or even the Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, the forest zone. Then we can also do some primary activities in that, like gathering of honeybee, or you can say lark, the material here. So some kind of minor forest produce activities. Grazing, then grassland should come in your mind. And grassland India, tropical grassland near Gujarat, and grassland, alpine grassland especially in alpine region. Bugyal, in mountain surrounding you can say, Jammu Kashmir, Himachal, the Gaddi tribe in Himachal Pradesh, the Gujjar tribe in Jammu Kashmir, and these kind of grazing activities, they take their animal in summer season in mountain for Bugyal and this kind of Gulmarg or Marg grassland. So you can write down that the mountain topography like Himalayan zone, alpine grassland, and Gaddi tribe, and these kind of name. Even in the last, the fisheries in the coastal area, you can add that we have the long coastal line, and more than 11,098 kilometer a coastal line. India is full of rivers. India is number of lakes also, and we have the variety of the fish in that. So river fish, inland fish, and so on. So our physiography is basically so varied, and we have the chance of multiple activities. That should be the way. But in the last, you can note down those these activities also having some burden on the environment. So sustainable activities are needed either in the mining or during the forest food this collection, not damaging the environment. sustainable practices are required here. So that could be one of the way. But in my opinion, if anyone just maintain this point, the non-farm primary activities, then the clue will be there. In that clue, you just decode this answer. In examination pressure, we can't write down all the points. So do not worry that in examination pressure we left this part. Many of us leaving that part, and one or two activities, if we properly mention and some diagram, it is good. And now the second point here, the second question, if we discuss here, then you know it very well that as far as this question, explain briefly the ecological and economic benefits of solar energy generation in India with suitable example. Solar energy too much in the news, but here the question is ecological kind of benefits because renewable energy. So first of all, in our mind, ecological aspects, and another the economic aspects. In my opinion, if something is good for the ecology, good for the economy also. There is a great economy in preserving the environment. So this way also you can begin with ecology and economy not countering each other, rather in intertwining aspects here. And for example, if I say that India is of course full of potential of solar energy, being tropical nation. So this thing you can write down in the beginning. Being tropical nation, huge potential of solar power. So of course this solar power, as you know, the renewable and without much environmental degradation, it is too suitable. And unlike the coal, this solar energy potential is huge, and solar energy is unlike coal. In my opinion, if you know the coal challenges, crude oil challenges, or fossil fuel challenges, coal or fossil fuel, the solar energy is having a great advantage, pollution reduction. If we just produce thermal power by coal, then too much pollution, sulfur dioxide and so on, but it is basically the pollution, almost pollution free or reduction in pollution. So we can say relation to fossil fuel, less pollution or almost free from pollution. And second point you can note down that carbon emission or greenhouse gases. So greenhouse gases reduction also. So greenhouse gases reduction, pollution reduction. Plus you can also note down in that part, beside this the solar energy is having one more advantage, and that is the hidden advantage in basically the transport sector. In transport sector, you know, the green hydrogen with the help of the solar energy, and green hydrogen is wonderful fuel. India is trying the best to use the green hydrogen fuel, unlike the petrol, diesel. So green hydrogen fuel would be wonderful fuel for in automobile sector or transport sector. Plus electric vehicle charging station. If India could produce lots of solar energy, because you can note down that in future India could utilize its solar part. Like in the map, you can show also India has a huge potential of solar, and this solar could also be utilized not only through electrolysis process, the green hydrogen making, but also you can note down in the brief that either this zone or this zone, rain shadow area, leeward side, lack of cloud, and we could basically set up the big plants, and this electricity could be utilized in electric vehicle charging the batteries. So this way in transport sector, pollution will be cut down a lot. So we could operate the trains not based on diesel, rather electric vehicle, electric train also, and public transport, metro train, electric trains. And through solar energy, we could basically get the green transport. Even the same green hydrogen could be also making the green ammonia or green urea. In agriculture sector, we could utilize in future the green urea also. So this is mainly science and tech portion, but geographically you can show one map also, the solar potential in Bhadla plant or Thar desert, or in rain shadow area, leeward side, or even the Ladakh desert area, unlike the eastern part. But one more thing you can note down, deforestation. Unlike many more energies, you can say, deforestation, like we just basically mine the coal to get the thermal power, deforestation in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, coal in the forested area. Similarly, you can note down northeastern area, good for the hydropower, but we just make the hydropower plant, then even the kind of problem deforestation. But if we basically think about solar, solar is wonderful in one aspect. The solar is basically requiring the leeward side, desert area, arid area, semi-arid area, the suitable area, semi-arid the rain shadow area, arid the desert topography. In that region, already wasteland is much and plants are minimum, so deforestation is minimum. जंगल काफ़ी कम है उस एरिया में, तो डिफॉरेस्टेशन इज ऑल्सो रिड्यूस. तो वी आर प्रिजर्विंग अवर रिसोर्सेज. इट इज इकोलॉजिकल बेनिफिट. अनदर बेनिफिट is also water resources. Hydropower, lots of water requirement. Even in thermal power, the boiler required the water. So you can say water conservation as well. Water conservation. So saving the water, saving the trees, biodiversity, and so on, and pollution reduction, greenhouse gases reduction, and of course these benefits in making India in carbon neutral. So you can say that carbon neutral and sustainable development we can achieve International Solar Alliance. But it's economy also. In the brief, you can note down the economic aspects as well. For example, in economy, you can note down, you can say the economic benefit in the brief. First of all, import reduction. Crude oil too much we are importing, and India also import the coal for thermal power. But if we basically go for the solar energy, then it will be Atmanirbhar Bharat, and it could be the import reduction. That will be the economic benefit, import reduction. And one more kind of benefit to the people also, if people basically install the solar panel on their roof, also rooftop panel, then through net metering system, rooftop panel, they could earn money also. Rooftop panel. For urban area, rooftop panel, and income generation net metering system, we can sell the power to the grid, net metering system. Plus also farmer especially, PM Kusum, and this Yojana, the Kusum Yojana, solar irrigation pump, solar farm. एग्रीकल्चर लैंड पर अगर हम साथ साथ में कुछ शेडेड वाली क्रॉप लगा रहे हैं, लो रूट वाली, जैसे कि कैरेट हो सकता है, गाजर है, या many more kind of crop, these are requiring less height, then solar panel and those crop can be combined, and solar पर फार्मिंग भी हो सकती है और सोलर पर ये हम एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस कर पाएंगे. सोलर इरिगेशन पंप इज ऑल्सो basically reducing the diesel and cutting down the pollution, plus also income generation for the farmer rather than diesel purchasing high cost. तो कुसुम योजना, कृषक उत्थान, तो एक तरीके से ये अभियान है कृषक उत्थान वाला सोलर एनर्जी के थ्रू, PM कुसुम योजना. So these are the economic benefits which will be driving our economy, preserving the ecology, and economy, ecology both are basically running as a sustainable development. International Solar Alliance we have. This thing you can write down in the last. So it could be easier question, but you have to make a map also. This must be a practice that जहाँ चांस मिलता है मैप बनाइए. अब मैप बनाने में टाइम नहीं लगेगा, थोड़ा थोड़ा ऐसा करके एक शेप बना दिया करें, फिगर 1 like that, solar zone of the India. And after this part, if we discuss the point here, the next 17 discuss the distribution and density of population in the Ganga river basin with a special reference to land, soil and water resources. This topic is little bit difficult because it is also having the population connection with land, with soil and water, and also requiring the Ganga river basin. So this topic is, first of all, you have to just consider Ganga river basin. What is Ganga river basin? Ganga river basin, then one data you can start with, that 26% area of India and 43% population, as we discussed in the classes. Population of India. Even if you recall, I mentioned that 43% population, if we consider Indian population 1.4 billion plus, it would be approx 60 crore population. If Ganga basin had been a country, Ganga basin would have been third most populous country after India and China. And you can show in the map also. Again, I would advise that one map also side by side, you can even indicate the Ganga basin. It is important to note down that basin means all the river and tributaries. So it is not merely UP, Bihar, Bengal, but it is large area, and that is basically the UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Bengal, and even touching the some you can say Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan surrounding also the Son River, Chambal River, multiple rivers making the Ganga basin with the tributaries. And this zone is encroaching Indian boundary also, Nepal River, Ghagra, Gandak, Kosi, coming to Bihar and coming to UP side also Ghagra River. And this zone is Ganga basin, 26% area of the India with densely populated area. So initially you can think this part connection, but this area is of course major part is Great Plain. Major part of Ganga basin, Great Plain part or Indo-Gangetic Plain. Indo-Gangetic Plain or Great Plain part. Indo-Gangetic Plain. Soil fertility, one of the best soil we have, known for high fertility of the soil, highly fertile, food greenery, globally very famous area, highly fertile zone. And of course, with tremendous big rivers, the Ganga, the Yamuna, the Son, the Chambal, the Betwa, Ken, coming to Ganga basin with Ghagra, Gandak, Kosi. So many rivers are there, and these rivers, of course, the center of the religion and also the urban centers with agricultural land. Multiple rivers are coming here, Gomti, Ghagra, Gandak, Budi Gandak, Kosi, Mahananda, Son River, also the Damodar River and so many rivers. And this basin is, of course, the worldwide, one of the fantastic basin in water resources, one of the most fertile soil. And you know that point mentioned here directly land, the soil and water and connection with the population. And then you can write down in the body part, first the land. And land, the physiography, you know, physiography is more or less plain, largely plain, Great Plain part, largely flat topography. Flat topography. If flat topography, not only crop cultivation is easy on the flat surface. So crop cultivation is easier, but beside this, the expressway, the highways, you know, Grand Trunk Road in the past, British also developed lots of railway track in Great Plain, Indo-Gangetic Plains, connecting Bengal and also Bihar and UP and so many states. Plus, you can say the expressway Bundelkhand, Purvanchal, recent time, number of expressways in the UP and surrounding area. So we are observing that flat surface, the expressway, transportation, highways, and since the beginning, it was easy to move here and there. So easy for the people. Accessibility is also one factor that people prefer. They know that we can meet each other very well. That would be gradually the central zone for the economy. And plus, you can say that this zone is having the food, having the water. As far as you can say that this urban or big cities also easily urban centers. So lots of population, like in UP we have the Kanpur, we have the Prayagraj here, we have the Varanasi here, we have the Patna here. So many centers are there, big population center. But population and you can consider, okay, urban centers, then you can also come to this part, this soil chapter also. It is 250 words, you have the scope here. A fertile soil, alluvial soil largely. Alluvial soil. In main part of the Ganga basin having the alluvial soil, largely alluvial, and this Khadar soil, the Bangar soil, Doab land. If you remember, Khadar, Bangar, Doab we discussed. Tarai belt also. And this zone is soil fertility is much, and we notice that if soil is good, population density also increasing. There is a kind of relationship, more the soil fertility, more the population density. Bengal has lots of population density, Bihar lots of population density, UP also lots of population density. So we can even consider here that this zone is having that population density is increasing towards Bengal area. Suppose in Bengal side, this side population density is less, but this side population density is more. Thick soil, fertile soil, high population density, Bengal, Bihar, UP. But at the margin Uttarakhand, near Alaknanda, near Gangotri, we have the lesser population relatively, mountain topography, even the plateau surface where Chambal, Betwa, Ken, Bundelkhand region, not having much water, not having fertile soil, little bit. So margin of the Ganga basin, some tough rock and mountainous rock even in the north. Then that zone is lesser population, but of course population is increasing in this manner. So we can even consider the population with the soil chapter, and finally in the water also you can correlate the water scenario in that zone. Mighty rivers Ganga, mighty rivers these Yamuna and Ghagra, Gandak, Koshi, then you can consider full of water. Even Oxbow lakes are there and water bodies are there. So this zone has groundwater, this zone has the river water, facility of the irrigation, and this irrigation is further boosting the green revolution, you know, even in the western UP portion and in Ganga basin. And variety of the crop could be cultivated. Main crop, water rich crop, due to water resources, the water intensive crop, the rice. Main food of the India. And mainly population is also requiring the food security. So water is available, water intensive crop, rice is available, and through rice cultivation, water intensive rice and more population density. Population is much, food is there, water is available. Water, food and soil combination with flat topography is wonderful for the population distribution. But if Ganga basin you are aware of, it is not completely plain, little bit at margin, it is plateau surface in south, in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan side and also Uttarakhand side where population slightly sparse, unlike the key states, the Bihar, Bengal and also the UP of course. But in the last you can note down, even this basin has been facing overpopulation. So some challenges in the last you can note down. Challenges like overpopulation. As I said, hardly 26% area, 43% population, overpopulation. Big cities like Delhi, one of the largest city on the earth right now, and multiple other cities also. And overpopulation, it means resource burden. Resources now depleting. Recent reports are coming up in Ganga basin also water depletion we are observing. Last year also this question came up, Ganga valley is having the less groundwater. Sugarcane cultivation, rice cultivation, and with urban centers resource depletion like water and soil degradation as well, chemical farming to maintain the food security, more burden on this portion, chemical farming, and also flood like in the time of climate change. So there is a need of you can say the aspects in that zone, the conservation of the resources. We have to even prefer the modern irrigation method. We have to even consider that population also should be away from the floodplain area or low-lying area. And also we have to make sure rainwater harvesting in this zone also. And cropping pattern is also be requiring the change. Thus we can utilize this area as we have already harnessed the benefit of this area. It has been a center of civilization pivot in the last you can note down. The Pataliputra or the places like Delhi also multiple times the capital, historical, cultural, religious benefits of this zone. And we have to maintain again this zone by conserving the resources of this region. Thank you so much. And consider my point that we have to practice before the exam a lot, and we need not to worry in examination pressure, some point would be missed, and relatively the kind of you can say the exams and if you just consider ki all the points here I could mention, it is not possible. Even at a time of pressure we could also write down few points. So no need to worry, we have to do our best before the exam, we have to revise as much as we can, and with flow we have to maintain, and with diagrams we have to just discuss this part. Thank you so much.